What's going on? Welcome back to Financial Journey. So today we're going to talk to you about Lucid. I want to go over some of the current data points, what shorts did, as well as just what the hell is happening. Before I get into any of that, make sure to hit that thumbs up, and with that, let's get right to it. So Lucid did go down 0.72% today, kind of low volume somewhat. So 17.6 million shares were traded, 24.7 is the average. You did see institutions not really paying so much attention to it today, especially in comparison to yesterday. There was one big one that was done so far today, $1.36 million in premium. So that's kind of good, but still, it just, something doesn't add up. And so I did a video yesterday just saying how there was a lot of abnormal activity, just not really making sense, but ultimately institutions were selling. I did do a part 2 to that because lo and behold, there was something that was submitted after hours yesterday, and that was the S8. So in this S8 ultimately is dilution. It's not really new because we all voted for it during the recent shareholder meeting and that was approved, but this is under right here, the Lucid Group amended and restated 2021 stock incentive plan. So this was already approved during, like I said, the shareholder meeting. It is 119 million shares, and then as well looks like an additional 3.3 million shares that's going to be for eligible people under the incentive plan by reasons of the recycling provisions of Section 5. So I think that's because of Michael Bell. So Michael Bell is leaving, or did leave now. So obviously a lot of his shares that weren't maybe awarded or given to him is going to be recycled back into the system. That's just how at least I interpret that. But still, beside the point, it's kind of funny how institutions were selling yesterday because maybe they knew that this was coming, but same goes for today. So when it comes to today, there was a lot of good momentum because of right here. So this was non-existent yesterday. I know that's very, very minor, but now there is a 0.3% likelihood of a 75 basis point cut, and that's for the September 18th, 2024 meeting. And as I pointed out, the whole EV market, even Tesla, is very sensitive to interest rates. Elon has brought that up time and time again over his last several earnings, saying that interest rates do need to, in fact, get cut. If not, his margins are going to get decimated. He didn't say decimated, but you guys get what I'm saying. So in reality, with their now expectations for a possible 75 or even a 50 basis point cut, so right now it is at 12.7% of a likelihood, but it is fair to assume that probably a 25 basis point cut is going to occur, similar to what happened in Canada yesterday. So they did a 25 basis point cut, the first G7 country to actually do that, but there's a 56.9% likelihood of that occurring. So all in all, there should be no actual legitimate reason why Lucid should be going down. And during the shareholder meeting, for those of you that did tune in, something did stand out, and I brought this up because it was very random. Peter did say, oh, I'm a shareholder. I've never actually sold for non-tax purposes and whatever else. Maybe he was just bringing that up to butter people because of some negative news coming out. Because even today, it was just very, very abnormal, the price action. So I don't know if, again, institutions know something that us retail aren't privy to, because that never happens in the market, right? Wink, wink, all the time. But still, this is very, very abnormal. So let me know your thoughts on that in the comments below. I'll go over exactly why it did fail to break out at this point though. So I'll talk on all of that. Today's shorts did increase 738,000 shares. So that was kind of the opposite from yesterday. I believe they did return about 1.7 million if I remember correctly. So nonetheless, they're kind of piggybacking off of that S8 and increasing their position. 27.71% of the free float is being shorted, utilization 97.04, and then cost to borrow average is 27.55%. So one thing that I just wanted to bring up, completely off topic, there was one individual that I was talking to on Twitter, and he asked, is like Lucid heavily shorted, and especially in comparison to GameStop. And in case you guys don't know, GameStop is running like a madman. All it will take, imagine if Roaring Kitty ever just tweeted saying Lucid, similar to what happened with Faraday. Faraday went up like crazy. Imagine if he just did that with Lucid. Lucid is a lot more heavily shorted than GameStop. GameStop has a short interest of 19.87%, and it is running like a mother blah, blah, blah. So Again, just wanted to throw that out there because Lucid is very, very heavily shorted. So based on my videos under my trending stocks channel, I do a top 5 most heavily shorted stocks in the market. And Lucid last time was number 5. So just keep that in mind. It is very heavily shorted, and it is the most heavily shorted EV in the market. So I don't know. Someone has a vendetta against Lucid and really wants it to tank to zero. So it's very crappy of a scenario, but I guess us Lucid investors have dealt with it for the greater part of 3 years. But moving on, looking at options, 355,000 in calls, 641,000 in puts. So dollar value wise, it's very low, especially in comparison to last several days or trading days. 57% of all the options being done today, though, were bearish. And of the call options that were purchased, though, you do see a consensus for it to be above $3. And then looking at puts, more of a consensus for it to be sub 250. So more of a breaking down on the optimism. Because over this last week and a half, you've seen a lot more optimism, but especially based on the options. Keep in mind, though, options is just merely a sentiment. It does not move the stock price. So I've already brought this up. These are some of the transactions that have occurred so far in the dark pool. So dark pool has been kind of dropping significantly. So I think a lot of shorts are just using the secondary market now. So it does really affect the stock price and everything else. So that's kind of interesting to see. No new analyst ratings, nothing like that. So not really much to bring up for that. With it closing at $2.79, it is trading between these 2 points, so this S1 and this pivot. Similar to what I said yesterday, so $2.56 is going to be that next strong support. And most likely it's not going to be touched this week because there's so much optimism in the broader market. Yes, it does suck that Lucid is lagging, but at least it's not trending down, if you want to be positive, if that makes sense. But like I said, the reason why it did bounce off of this general area, similar to yesterday though, is because of this pivot point of $2.89. So it just doesn't have enough for it to get above that. So the market just sees it trading within this range, so this S1 to the pivot. So going forward into the next several trading days, just watch for this $2.89 to be the next strong target / resistance, and hopefully for Lucid to get above that. On the actual chart itself, let's zoom in over here. It luckily enough is still holding and above that 50-day moving average. It is in the lower percentile of the Bollinger Band. Kind of started and piggybacked off the negative momentum starting from yesterday. You do see stochastic at roughly around 42. So even though Lucid is somewhat consolidating, you are seeing this go up. As well, you do see a bullish deviation despite, again, the consolidation. White line above the red. Number of retail investors haven't been doing all that much today, so kind of flat, but they were buying as of the 4th. So let me know your thoughts. Have you been buying Lucid? Have you been selling? What have you been doing behind the scenes? And as well, have you been doing options? I know a lot of people have been kind of posting saying that they kind of popped their cherry, if that makes sense, doing options, either selling puts or selling calls. Definitely a very good advantageous thing to do to collect some much needed revenue, or I guess premiums. And on a side note, if you ever do really like a stock, highly suggest in researching options, because you can always sell puts, because if it doesn't go below that strike price that you pick, you get to keep the premium. If it goes below that, then you buy it at the price that you ideally want. So definitely, I think that's a good opportunity for a lot of people to kind of capitalize on. And any stock that is very volatile, there's always an extra little premium added to that. So I think that, again, could really help a lot of investors. So let me know your thoughts. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I always greatly appreciate that. One final thing, take advantage of this promo. Simply sign up for a new account, throw $100 at it, and they give you 5 free stocks. Each stock is valued up to $2,000. So take advantage of this promo. Link in the description below and also the comments. With all that said, appreciate all of you watching.